Okay. Hello and welcome to 5 years of Auspol Explained. Yay! Let me just drag the chat onto the other monitor so I can actually see what I'm doing. Yes. Okay. Hello everyone. Welcome to Auspol Explained. Doing a live stream. It's been 5 years. 5 years since I uploaded a not particularly fantastic video. I mean, look, I'm just being critical because the lighting isn't that good. Okay. I feel like maybe some of the basics of it were okay. Anyway, as is classic vibes to be doing on a live stream, I will now check my own live stream by going to my own channel and listening to myself talk with a delay. But hello if you're watching, which I think currently is no one, but yeah, let me just... Everyone loves the setup of a live stream. Anyway, I will be talking about, one, thanking people for, all the support over the years, and also talking about a few important things, like the future of Auspol Explained, as well as asking a thing or two of you. Yay! Good! It is working. Wonderful. Okay, so, hi Thomas, welcome to the chat. And hi Jane, also welcome to the chat. Hello, yay. Tell your family and friends to be watching right now, because this is only going to be a brief stream. But yeah, so 5 years, a lot. I've learned a lot while doing this, and I feel like I've mentioned this before, but I want to work on more useful short videos. I feel like a lot of the original content that I made way back was unnecessarily long because YouTube rewards long stuff, and then thinking to myself, no one needs this level of detail. This is me just rambling on. Hi, I'm going to say Nick. Hello. And I've also just noticed that my camera battery is kind of low. I sure hope it doesn't drop out. But yeah, I want to make shorter stuff. And that is just motivated by the fact that it would be more watchable and interesting, I suppose, to people to like watch a 5-minute video. Like, if you're not interested in politics, why would you watch a 40-minute interview with like some MP that you may not have heard of? I find that very interesting, but I need to start making shorter things, so that I will be doing. And also, the election is coming up next year. Almost certainly. I don't think it can be called before the end of this year. I'm not entirely sure of the timeline, but also, like, it doesn't happen in December. It just statistically does not happen in December. Yeah. So, yeah. I am going to be working on lots of videos about the election. Not like specifically like policy, because that's not what I do, but like lots of things like, why not just re-explain how preferential voting works, or like how to find out how MPs have voted, learning about, like, because everything's recorded. Like, it's in the Hansard record. You can go on the Parliament House website and find like the records of divisions, like theyvoteforyou.org.au. There's lots of ways that you can actually find out like your local member or a political party can be like, we stand for this, and you're like, where are the receipts? And you can find the receipts and you can see what they said and what they did, and if that aligns with your values and interests and what you want them to do, and then you can be like, aha. So like lots of I just want to create materials like that help people figure out what has happened over the past whatever amount of years, and figure out how they want to respond to that. Because of course I'm not going to tell you how to vote. I won't do that. The answer to who do I vote for is, who do you think will do the best job representing you? And yeah, pardon me. Thank you, Mirabeau, for saying that it's nice to have information that is more than a now this video. Yeah. So yeah, if anyone has suggestions on ideas for election videos that again are like informative instead of political commentary, let me know. I will add it to the endless to-do list. Like I make so many to-do lists and I keep coming up with things and not having enough time to do them. Like if I did this job full time, I would still not run out of ideas, I think. Just because sitting down and reading things about politics and parliament and stuff and democracy just inspires me to think of more things. And then I have, of course, a million political biographies that grows bigger and bigger all the time. I have a Google Doc where I like list all the different political biographies that I have just to keep track of them, to make sure that I don't like be like, do I have this or not? Like the latest edition is Whitlam to Winston by Barry something. I don't know. It's a book by a former MP that's meant to be a bit amusing. So I don't know if I've written that down. I need to add to that, to the thing. Yeah. Thank you, Jane, for loving my interview with Professor Anne Toomey. Yeah. I mean, I did multiple. There are 3 videos that I've done with Professor Anne Toomey. And who knows, maybe in the future more. But I'd recommend that you go check out her YouTube channel, Constitutional Clarion. I was watching it just before I did this live stream, though do note that unlike me, she does actually do political commentary where she points out her own personal views on bills and why she likes or dislikes elements of it. Yeah. Anyway, but I do recommend her as like a useful, just a useful source. Like, I don't know particularly many people with an actual good understanding of the Constitution. To have someone with that breadth of knowledge and understanding and experience be like, I'm going to make YouTube video after YouTube video, like, wow, it's great that she's online. Okay, yeah. Nick says that you find it very hard during elections to find members' policies. Do they not make them clear on purpose? Good question. Gosh, sometimes it can be difficult, honestly. Like, yeah, I remember, like, because I always try and do the research. I remember, like, I can't even remember, I think it was like a state election or something. It was ages ago. I was like in my early 20s and I was trying to find, like, there was a political party that was registered and didn't have a website, and I was just like, how am I, why are you doing this? If I can't find anything about you, why are you bothering? If you can't communicate to me, right? But also on a more like the recent example, the last federal election, I remember reading like the Liberal policy platform and the Labour policy platform, and how like the way that they'd formatted it was so different. Like the way that like the Liberal Party had been like short paragraph with like bolded this, bolded that, and then Labour was like, this is our policy, and it was like smaller text, but it was concise and it was there, whereas the Liberal was like way longer but more dynamically presented, and I was just like, why have you formatted it so drastically differently? You know, I mean, the information is there usually. Like, the information is there. It's just for sometimes it might be just an effort in trying to search through it. The ABC tends to do some like summaries on the different like things like, you know, housing, education, health, etc. But of course that is limited to the larger political parties like Labour and Liberal, Greens and Nationals, maybe One Nation occasionally. I'm not entirely sure, I can't recall, but you know, the more well-known popular ones. So if you're going for minor parties and independents other than the Greens, then it does become a bit more of a like the onus is on you to do research kind of thing, which is not the best. I wish someone who wasn't me had a better resource to summarize all this, because I can't do it all myself. But anyway, thank you, Caitlin, for congratulating me for 5 years. Anyway, look, quick little story, right? So I did not care about politics when I was like 20-ish, like around there. but like I have a friend, Joni, and you know, she invited me to an election watching party in 2013, and I just went to get drunk and hang out with friends. That was it. That was my motivation. I had not paid attention to the election prior. Like, I mean, I voted. I had some opinions, but it was like I couldn't tell you what the House of Representatives and Senate was. Like, I'd be like that the Parliament there. So like I had so little knowledge. But then like watching people, like the atmosphere there, people cared, people were interested, people were commenting. Joni was like, oh, you know, had opinions about insert member here that I'd never heard of. And so that was really inspiring for me. I thought that was really interesting. And that got me passionate, interested in politics, to like pay attention and learn more about it. And then eventually that inspired me to make Auspol Explained, to be like, I really care about researching this and finding out about it, but it's effort to be like, I gotta find those things. How can I make it so that there is something that is just easy, accessible, easy to, like, pretty easy to find, to actually help people understand what's going on. And so really, we can thank Joni for the existence of Auspol Explained. You know, I don't know if all of you saw a while back, I actually made a post about her and how she's got a fundraising thing going on where she's trying to raise money for her vocal surgery. And because we've been such good friends for such a long time, she was part of the bridal party at my wedding. So there was an image of me and her as a groomsmaid. I posted that, and a couple people were like, "Congratulations, such a cute couple." I'm like, "No, she's a groomsmaid. She's not my wife. She's not wearing like white in this image." But yeah, that I thought that would be a good image to use to demonstrate how important she was in my life and is in my life. She's not dead, because like, yeah, like how many people did I have? I had two. Well, actually three, but one could not attend. Yeah, I had a very limited bridal party, and it's like, yeah, you're definitely in it. So, you know, if you'd like to show appreciation for the existence of Auspol Explained, I highly recommend that you check out her GoFundMe. It should be linked in the description of this live stream, actually. Let me just double check that. Woo. How do I... What do you mean? Yes, yeah, it should be. Let me see. Can I put it in the chat? Yes. Okay. So, yeah, if you want to thank me for all the hard work I've done over the past 5 years, yeah, I highly recommend thanking Joni, because without her, this would not exist. This would not be possible. So, yeah, anything you can contribute. She recently got sick. So did I. Twinsies. Good friends. I got COVID. She got measles. You'd think that as an adult she would have already got that, but no. So she is a casual. She lost a lot of work. And yeah, so it is very much like, hey, she needs money for her vocal surgery. So I've linked the GoFundMe in the chat and also in the description of this. So I highly recommend just giving her a little bit of money to help her achieve her goals, her wonderful goals. Anyway, so yeah. Well, chat's going off. There's more people in here than I thought. The last time I did a live stream, very few people showed up, but yeah, I know, measles. Ridiculous. Anyway, yeah, so big thank you to Joni. Big thank you to all of you for supporting me over the past 5 years, even if some of you have not been around for the past 5 years. New or old, I love it. And yeah, it's great to have this thing. In the chat, someone's asking if she has a channel. Joni does not have a YouTube channel. And Professor Ann Toomey has a YouTube channel. Go subscribe to Constitutional Clarion and Toomey's YouTube channel, where she talks about the Constitution and commentary on bills. Joni is a personal friend of mine who's not a YouTuber, but I've linked her GoFundMe in the chat, just to clarify, human. No, I don't use Tumblr. Anyway, moving on. So, what was I? Something about the election coming up. Yeah, let me know if you have anything in particular that you'd want me to make a video explaining. I do have like ready. Oh gosh, no! I knew this would happen. Oh no! Can you still hear me? Whoops! I did not check that battery was not near dead before I turn it on. Oh, yay! Is that working? Whoops. Okay. Oh, boy. Okay. Well, I hope that we're all back now. Anyway, let me just... well. Anyway, where was I? I'm using like an external camera like plugged in, so it needs its own battery. Don't have like a dedicated webcam. Yeah, anyway. I get so easily distracted. Literally, where was I? I was talking about the election. I think I've always been talking about the election. We have always been at war with East Asia. We are always talking about the election. Anyway. Yeah, okay, so let me just tell you a little bit about what I've been up to as a nice little update. So, I am going to be releasing 2 incredibly long interviews. And I say incredibly long, they're both... I think one's only like 45 minutes and the other one's nearly an hour. But inspired by my recent video about, like, hey, does Australia pay the royal family? I looked at like the Australian Republic Movement and Australian Monarchist League website to learn their comments on royal visits, and then thought, you know what, why don't I just like ask them directly what the arguments for and against a republic versus constitutional monarchy are, and it led to 2 very long conversations with Alexander Volz from the Australian Monarchist League and Esther... Oh, so worried that I'm going to butcher her last name, from the Australian Republic Movement. And so now there are 2 very long interviews that I'm still working on. They're still taking time, especially because I got COVID the other week. But yeah, I've had to cut them down. Like, I don't pay for professional Zoom because I only use it usually once a month. So like, I filled up both of those interviews. I had to start a new Zoom link and then was like, oh no, we're like nearing the end of the second one. Like they were both like around 80-minute long conversations that had to be like cut down. Yeah, that was a big... no one's said anything since they got Vision back, so I assume everyone's still watching. But yeah, so that's what's coming next, really, is a quick explainer about what a republic is and what the constitutional monarchy is in Australia and how those 2 compare, and then followed by I'll be dropping it simultaneously because I don't want like the 2 thing. I don't want to prioritize one after the other. So I'll be dropping 2 at the same time, and I hope that you watch them both or listen to them both, because again, this is on Spotify. And yeah, that reward me for the amount of time I put into this. No, it would be good to have all that hard work pay off with people actually watching them, because the interviews don't always do that well, which is a shame, because I started doing the interviews to save me time writing and researching videos, and then they turned into the more time-consuming thing that I do, because they inherently always go to like half an hour plus. How do I decide backgrounds for my videos? It's a bookcase. There is no decision-making process. It's a bookcase. And then I don't organize that. I just put stuff on that sometimes, and I just have a slowly growing collection of Pokemon stuff that I rearrange sometimes. My biggest other passion besides politics is Pokemon. Like, yeah. Within reach at any given point in time, there is a Pokemon. This is Garuki in a little ball. Like, here is a Pikachu. Like, I love Pokemon. I've been playing it so much. I've been replaying Pokemon Brilliant Diamond recently. Yeah. That's why Pokemon appear semi-frequently, because this is my personal office. It's just there. Oh, is the audio a little bit quiet? Oh gosh, I hope not. I can make myself a little bit louder. Yes. Human asks, we have a monarchist league. We have multiple pro-monarchy advocacy groups. There's Australians for Constitutional Monarchy and the Australian Monarchist League. We also have multiple advocacy groups for an Australian Republic, the Australian Republic Movement, and another one whose names escape me. And they don't all agree with each other, because that is a natural thing that happens in democracy. One pro-monarchist group during the 1999 referendum argued we don't need to have, as the Republicans say, an Australian as Australian head of state, because the Governor General since 1965 has been an Australian born and an Australian citizen, and therefore is the head of state of Australia, because they act de facto in that role, which is not a constitutionally really backed up thing. And the other Australian Constitutional Monarchy group went, no, we're not going to use that kind of rhetoric, because that undermines the importance and the role and power of the Queen by saying that her head of state role is being usurped by the Governor General. No, that is the representative of the head of state, the Queen. And also, in 1999, there was lots of people that were like, yay, Republic. And then another group, a subset, that went, but a different model to the one that's being proposed, and split the vote. So that's just a natural part of democracy, where people end up having these sort of natural disagreements, but demonstrates that even within like a particular niche group, you'll still have that kind of discussion and differences. So I've only interviewed one member from either side, so I'm sure there'll be other things that Republicans and monarchists say other than those interviews, but they are quite long, so you'll learn quite a lot. Anyway, someone mentioned something about the House of Reps having their terms bumped to 4 years. I think we had a referendum on that, and it failed, because that's what referendums do. I think that was in the 80s. I think that was under Bob Hawke. Maybe the Senate. Yeah, I think that maybe the Senate term was going to be 4 years. Anyway, yeah. Look, Australia has examined that as an idea. The states, I think, except for one or maybe all of them at this point, do have fixed 4-year terms, because they can do that via legislation. But yeah, I mean, I think maybe within, I don't know. I'd have to double check, but I think maybe you could legislate to require 3-year terms, fixed 3-year terms for the federal parliament. That might be legislatively possible. You just can't legislate beyond 3 years, or that might just not work. I'm not entirely sure. I would love to do a bookshelf tour. The answer is lots of books. Like, I keep having to rearrange them. Like, there's I kind of do them sections, usually by political parties. So there's like, and also chronologically. So, I start with like Chris Watson. Well, at the start, I start with Indigenous history, and then go into like parliamentary history and federation and political cartoons. But then I go into Chris Watson, the first Labour Prime Minister, and then we go through the Labour PMs, and on the other bookshelf we go with like, you know, I don't have a book about Edmund Barton. I guess it starts with Robert Menzies. And then we go through some Liberals, and then we got our Nationals section, and then we've got our others. So I've got like a Bob Catter biography. I've got a book about Pauline Hanson, and other Dame Enid Lyons, who was politically aligned, but you know, we've got some other historical figures there as well. And then also grouped a little bit. Well, no, maybe I rearranged it. I have like Governor General stuff. So I've got a book, an autobiography by Bill Hayden, but I've not read it. Other than the relevant section about the dismissal, because he was Governor General after, I think he was, and he was, and I don't recall, but he basically just doesn't think that Kerr did anything too particularly wrong. He was just like, it's a hard job. And I don't know all the things that he had knowledge of, so anyway. Blah 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 blah. This always happens where I just sort of get blown away talking about things, and be like, oh, people in the chat, how you doing, chat? What's my favorite non-domesticated animal? A red panda. My wife Anna, she got me tickets. Well, not ticket. I don't know, an experience, I suppose, for Christmas last year, where Perth Zoo was like, come before the zoo opens and you can meet this animal and see it being fed, and I got to go see a red panda, and see it getting fed, and they're like, oh, hello. You don't get to like hold the panda or pet it or anything, of course. It's like, it's an animal, but it was cool to be like up close in the enclosure, like, wow, cool, and just have that one-on-one experience with the handler, just learning about red pandas. So that was really fun. What's my favorite Australian native animal? A bilby. Yeah. I don't have much to say on that one. Hello, hello, Andy. How you doing? Good to see you in the chat. I did promise though that this actually would be a short live stream because yeah, I can waffle on forever, but I do also want to get ready and make some dinner for my wife. So yeah, I won't be talking for too much longer, but hello, Andy. So yeah, once again, a reminder that in the description there is a link to Joni's vocal surgery yes, it is a GoFundMe. So if you could like support that would be great. Just gonna check message from my wife. She's still not home yet, but she'll be on her way soon, so I can help make dinner and clean stuff. Anyway, wow, Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister of Australia, is in the chat. Wow, and he asked, am I your favourite Prime Minister? I ain't gonna tell you anything about my opinions about Prime Ministers, but if Anthony Albanese would like to be interviewed on the show, he is more than welcome. In fact, I have actually emailed him to be like, hey, would you like to talk about what the role of a Prime Minister is? Because one day I will get a Prime Minister on the show. One day, eventually. I also emailed Peter Dutton's office to be like, hey, what's the role of the Leader of the Opposition? And Adam Bandt's office to be like, what's the role of the crossbench? And also a lot of Teal Independents to be like, what is the role of Teal Independents? What do they like? What do they do? And thus far, none of them have responded to me, except for the Teal Independents who responded to say no. So if anyone knows Albanese, Dutton and Bant personally, please tell them, talk to me. Me! Yeah. Thank you, Jameson, for congratulating me on 5 years. Hello, Thomas, and yes, you say I should get Bob Catter on. I've tried more than once. I've sent him more than one email, like at least a year apart, to be like, hey, come on. He just doesn't respond to me. Probably because I'm not in his electorate. I'm in Queensland, and I mean, he's in Queensland. I'm in Western Australia, and you know, MPs tend to prioritise their electorate when it comes to responses. And yeah, I don't know how Bob Catter is when it comes to Zoom. That man does not strike me as the most like technologically adept individual. But I have tried. I think it would be interesting. Like each interview that I like go for has like a theme, and like Bob Catter is the father of the house. Bob Catter is the longest continuously serving member of the current Parliament, the federal Parliament. He's been in for over 30 years, and he was in Queensland State Parliament before then. So he's actually been in Parliament for decades. He's been in Parliament for I think like 50 years when you combine state and federal or something ridiculous. It's a huge. So I want to get him on and just ask him things about what it's like being in Parliament for so long and how things have changed, and also like how you keep getting re-elected. Like not like him personally. It's not like there's some unbelievable element that I'm like critical of, like how do you do this? But like obviously he's managed to get re-elected and have this incredibly lengthy career that other people would be so jealous of. He's literally the last man standing of like the prior 3 decades. Like, what pearls of wisdom do you have, Bob? Can you please tell us that? And I think it would just be interesting to hear Bob Catter try and explain what makes a good MP. You know, what makes a re-electable MP? How do you do your job so you keep getting re-elected? That's what I want Bob Catter to tell me, and he won't answer my emails. Ah, well. Yeah. So anyway, I don't have anything else to add. I ain't spending any more time on it. Yeah. So yes. Yeah. Donate to Joni's vocal surgery. Tell me ideas for election videos that are apolitical. And again, if you are or know how to get in contact with Anthony Albanese other than the obvious public contact form, get him to talk to me, as well as Peter Dutton. You know, are you really his press officer? Is this a real YouTube channel, Anthony Albanese, Prime Minister of Australia? I don't think you... Are you actually connected to... Let's click on it. Okay. Office of the Prime Minister, 5 subscribers. No. You're not Albo. There is another YouTube channel for Anthony Albanese, I'm pretty sure, that actually has subscribers and content. I don't know why I need to go... Yeah. I don't know why I need to go through the process of fact-checking it. We all know that Anthony Albanese is not actually watching anything that I do. Otherwise, he would be a big fan. But also, isn't it great that I have more subscribers than the... It's not a competition, but that does make me feel good about myself that I have like so many. I'm like, how do I have so many? Like, this is the most successful thing that I've ever done. I thought I had 17,000. I have over 18,000. What? This is generally the most successful thing that I've ever done, and that's wild to me. It's blown me away. And it is kind of like wild that it's like over 18,000 people subscribe to this weird little nerd who's just like, hey, would you like me to just talk at you about the Australian political system for hours and hours on end? And people have gone, yes. And I'm eternally grateful for that. It is remarkably good. And yeah, I've actually been reading a lot about threats to democracy. Why? Because for work, actually. But like threats to democracy and therefore safeguards to democracy. And you know how to safeguard democracy? Civic education and participation. Participation with democratic institutions by the public gives them familiarity, gives them an understanding of how they work, gives them a better understanding of how to engage with them. Therefore, they become more effective at serving the people, and people are more likely to trust them, which means that we can maintain them, and then they get safeguarded against erosion, corruption, and authoritarian influence through misinformation or disinformation. I'm... yay. Hi, Just John. I'm so glad that you're my number one fan. Anyway, can we see my required physical Australian Constitution? Yeah, I guess. I have it. So, yes. Sorry, but what I was saying before, I had to get this copy of the Australian Constitution, is it is. I've been reading about safeguards to democracy, and like it is nice to know that it's like, okay, what's the solution? And the solution is getting people interested, understanding, caring about, and connecting with, the civic responsibilities and democratic institutions. And we have remarkably good democratic institutions. Our electoral commission is fantastic. Our press freedom is pretty good. There is a lot of transparency when it comes to our government and parliamentary system. Just really the barrier is people understanding how to access that information, caring about that information, and engaging with it in an interesting and worthwhile manner. So I'm glad that you're all here, because it demonstrates that you care, and it demonstrates, the fundamental basics of what we need for a good society, which is people understanding and caring about the civics institutions, democratic institutions, and how we can engage with that better. And that's not to say that I'm some leader and influencer in this space. Like, you personally decided to get more involved, and I'm glad that you did. And I hope you spread that interest in, democracy and understanding the Australian political system to others around you, because, an election is coming up. We need to be engaged, interested, and actually understand what's going on, so we can make informed decisions and votes to choose who we want to represent us in the coming years. If you ever feel a little bit disheartened about the state of democracy, consider that it's okay. It is fixable if there is a flaw, and part of the ways that we can fix it is people caring, getting interested, learning about it, and also just, engaging with it better. I think I may have said that a lot. I think I've repeated myself a lot. But I hope you all get and understand that point. Okay, so, I'm going to wrap up now because I have nothing else to say. Other than a massive thank you. I mean, I say thank you all the time, but I do actually genuinely mean it. Because, like I said, this is the most popular thing I've ever done. This is the most successful thing I've ever done in my life. It's phenomenal that people have genuinely found this interesting and also useful. That's what I want to be. I want to be useful. I want to help people understand this thing called Australian politics better. And, so... yay! I'm glad that I do this. I'm glad that people find use and value. So, yeah. Have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to subscribe. No, you already have subscribed. I don't need to tell you to subscribe. And yeah, I'm gonna go do some cleaning of my house, prepare for dinner, and then play Pokemon, the trading card game Pocket, because, like I said, Pokemon is one of my biggest interests other than politics. I love it. Okay, but quick development note. Pokemon trading card game online, which is discontinued, it's now replaced by Live. It used to have a system where you could I think it was like 5 or 6 different emotes. You know, you couldn't do a chat. You couldn't like chat to your opponent and say mean things because it's Pokemon. It's very family friendly, but you could be like happy, confused, like sad. You know, and that would be so useful in Pokemon Pocket because I just want to be able to. I just want to react I want the confused reaction. That's probably not the most useful one for most people, but I want the confused one because I'm fighting them and they do something and I know it's not a good idea, and I just want to have like that confused reaction to be like, why did you do that? Don't do that. Don't power up the Pokemon that I'm about to knock out. Power up something on your bench so it can switch out as you switch it in and actually attack me. Why are you doing that? Anyway, look, if I wasn't doing this, I could have a Pokemon themed channel, but I won't. So, yes, thank you, Jameson. I also would like to send an angry emote whenever someone has a Mewtwo EX and a Gardevoir set up already, and I have nothing. Anyway, yes. Cool. Well, anyway, have a wonderful rest of your evening, everyone, and, you know, go read a policy page or something. Go figure out what your local member of parliament is saying on the Hansard record. Do some nerd stuff, you know, other than just Pokemon. Yes, I do want to be able to tell people that I'm judging them while I play Pokemon, okay? Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. Okay. And now, it's like, if I turn it off now, when does it stop broadcasting? Like, because there is a bit of delay. Anyway. Bye. Donate to Joni's fundraiser.